The Electoral Commission of South Africa has upheld an objection against former President Jacob Zuma's candidature in the upcoming elections. The commission said it has notified Zuma's uMkhonto weSizwe party that he is not eligible to contest for a seat in parliament. Now, South Africa's constitution does not allow any individual convicted for more than a year to hold public office. In July 2021, Zuma was sentenced to 15 months in jail for contempt of court for refusing to testify before a judicial commission investigating corruption during his nearly decade-long presidency. He was, however, released from prison on medical parole after just 2 months to serve his sentence under house arrest. The Electoral Commission said Zuma has now until April 2nd to appeal against his ineligibility. Now, to discuss this, I'm joined by political analyst, Professor Sipho Seete. Hello, Prof. Thank you so much for joining me at this time.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
All right, now, perhaps let's start, by what it means for his supporters who had put him as their candidate. Do you think that Zuma could have anticipated this already as a former president?
I think both the former president, Jacob Zuma, and his supporters understood very well that this might be a position that the IEC may take. But what is also important is that there are two positions that one would try to summarize in terms of why they took the position that they took in listing him as part of the list of people who are going to go to parliament.
Okay.
The first is that Zuma came top on the list, which on its own indicates the level of support that he enjoys among the people who support this party. So effectively, it shows that Zuma is not a spent force because the list is compiled based on the submission of the members of uMkhonto weSizwe. The second aspect is that the jailing of the former president was itself very problematic. So by submitting the name of Jacob Zuma, this would end up forcing that the matter of his incarceration be reopened. And when it gets reopened, all the shenanigans that took place, and also the fact that he was incarcerated without trial, it will remind people of the apartheid years, where the apartheid regime used detention without trial as one of its repressive instruments. And if that gets opened, then it will be very embarrassing for the Constitutional Court. Because
all right,
what
Prof.
we expect.
Yeah. But obviously, his name might have come as an objection from individuals according to electoral provisions. So in your own thoughts, where could this objection have come from?
Well, the objection would have come from anyone. Remember, Jacob Zuma was sentenced to 15 months. And according to our constitution is that people can be elected in parliament, but those people who are elected should be individuals who have not been convicted of any crime. And if they are convicted of a crime, it should not be a crime that puts somebody for 15 months or for more than 12 months. And his conviction was 15 months. So the law on this matter is very clear. What is questionable is the fact that he has been found guilty and sentenced. So by objecting, Zuma will then have to, or his party will have to bring to a discussion the manner of his own incarceration. And the first, as I said, one is that this was a matter of contempt. It's not an issue of having committed a crime, like a crime in the ordinary sense of the word. So a case can be made in court that when the drafters of the Constitution drafted that clause, they didn't have in mind a civil case. They had in mind a criminal case. And secondly, we also have in our own court that nobody can be detained without a trial. And in this case, Zuma was convicted without any trial. So all these issues will then emerge. And there are two judges of the Constitutional Court who had accused their own colleagues of having acted in a manner that is unlawful. That is, there is no basis in law for them to have convicted Jacob Zuma. Secondly, they've also argued that what they have actually done is unconstitutional. But in the nature of things, the process moved without those issues being ventilated publicly or in a court of law. So this appeal by Jacob Zuma, if he does, or by the MK party, will reopen a can of worms. And South Africans will actually see that their constitutional court is not as clean as it pretends to be.
Okay. All right, Prof. Now, the Electoral Commission has actually said that Jacob Zuma actually has until 9th of April to be able to challenge this decision. Now, but do you see him doing that at all?
I'll be surprised if the party would not do that. I think, for me, this is part of a deliberate strategy to reopen the processes that led to his incarceration. And as I say, many scholars have actually found that the incarceration was itself problematic. And I do think it is very important that he should open it so that we do address this. It's very important that we close this matter because for as long as it lingers, there will be instances that will force us to go back to that impugned decision by the Constitutional Court.
All right, now just before I let you go, Professor, now let's talk about how the MK party. Do you think that they have a plan to put the voters at ease and even leverage on the former president's popularity?
Well, there is no doubt that Jacob Zuma enjoys a lot of support, and this is why the ruling party has acted in a manner that is that shows that it's very paranoid and restless. We have seen many people who are disgruntled with the ANC joining uMkhonto weSizwe. We also have seen many people who had chosen to disconnect, say now we have a party that we can vote for. So effectively, it will bring about some of the issues that made the people who control the economy of this country to hate Jacob Zuma. That he called for radical economic transformation, which meant that political freedom was not going to be sufficient. And the people are saying, what has this freedom given us? We still live in a country where we are marginalized in the country of our birth. Africans still occupy less than 5% of the land of their forebears. And effectively, those issues will be on the table. And those are the issues that made those who control the economy to be very disgusted with Jacob Zuma and to make sure that he's actually dislodged from power. So the people who are disgruntled with the ANC and the people who are disgruntled with the post-1994 dispensation, they see in Zuma a person who is going to bring back the issue of the promise of democracy, which at the moment has not been fulfilled.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Professor Sipho Seete, for joining me and speaking on this. Thank you. Appreciate you for your time.
You're welcome.